go ahead and call the meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I think so. Isn't that supposed to be on the... That one's supposed to...
Wasn't it there last time?
It startled me at first. I didn't know which flag to...
So we'll go with first with the reading of the minutes from last meeting. Is there any additions, changes?
I'll make a motion.
Dave makes a motion. Is there a second? Mike seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion carries. We have the presentation of the bills along with the presentation of payroll. Any questions? Otherwise, if I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Mike moves to approve. Is there
Second.
seconded by Nicole? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Start with City Commissioners report. Dave.
I really have nothing other than I'd like to thank Jim and his crew and the crew that you brought in to patches look good. Thanks for cutting the trees down. So I think we could probably continue to do more if yeah, I think they all look good, and so thank you.
Mike?
The cemetery looks fine. I was out there and checked it today, so it looks good. The flowers are still alive, so I guess that's all I got.
Okay. Paul?
HEDC met and they have approved, right now the Hillsboro Business Association does Hillsboro Christmas Cash. And in the past, the Business Association had the people that took that program had to pay 5% of everything they took in to cover costs on that. The HEDC approved paying that 5% for the businesses. So that's going to be a real win for the Business Association. So thank the HEDC for doing that. And that's, of course, the 10% that gets the HEDC also does for the community, the residents that take out those loans. So that's a big win for the Hillsboro Business Association and the citizens of Hillsboro. On the beautification, I haven't met yet on that meeting yet. Electrical, I think we're going crazy on electrical. So hopefully we'll get more and more done on that. I noticed I signed a lot of checks for electrical, so hopefully that's a good sign.
Okay. Any questions? Nicole, do you have anything?
Just that we had met 2 separate meetings with AE2S and went over the water main replacement and sanitary force main improvements. This was prior to my time, so I believe what we went over is kind of what the requirements are for surveying and applications and things that have to be submitted on time. I don't know if I'm missing any more than that. This is probably prior to discussions prior to me coming in.
Right. Well, I know Steve said that he was waiting at our last meeting for the project that Jim had a couple things that he was before he'd have that request to us for the what it would cost for the storm sewer or storm drain replacement and repair project. So he is working on that.
Nicole, they asked about that I would be able to sign.
That's right.
Oh, yep.
Yep. So on the USDA grant and loan we need to decide at what limit we would allow Jim to sign off on change orders. Normally they went to 10,000 is what they've done in the past. So can't hear? Can you hear me now? Is it better now? So on the USDA loan, we need to know how much will allow Jim to sign off on change orders if there is any, which we shouldn't have too many that we were thinking. So I'd just entertain a motion, or if you guys have a limit that you want set, but like I said, 10,000 is what they kind of A2S had recommended. So
I'll make the motion.
Dave makes motion for 10,000 for a limit for Jim to sign up to. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mike seconds. Any other discussion on it? Paul?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
And a yes for me. I think that was it on that one, correct? That's what I...
Yep.
Anything else, Nicole?
I have nothing further than that.
Okay. The pool is up and running and hopefully going well. We still haven't got any bids back on replacement yet, so I'm still working on that. The grant for Forest Service is through. We have a company that'll probably come in, Bose Tree Service. They're a licensed contractor out of Grand Forks that would come in and do them all for us. We just need to line that up and it'll be later this fall. Part of that grant was that for us to, we have to match, remember it's 50-50 match. So us loaning them to use trucks or to haul it out and landfill fees, that will help cover that 50% match. So, and possibly if I put in, I know there's one item Jim wanted on the budget that maybe we can get in there too. I can't remember if I might even put it on the grant application. That is all that I have, unless it's on the agenda. So we'll move on to Jim. Do you have anything tonight?
Adding on to what Paul was mentioning, Arvig was on site today. They started boring the interstate for that new line across I-29. The only thing we're waiting for is some switch gear in the substation, which could be here as soon as 3 weeks. So things are moving optimistically fast. So hope that goes well. That's all I have.
JR, did you have anything? Ashley? Okay. Steve, do you have anything for tonight? Okay. Good job to your officers and on the work this past weekend and the incidents that happened. So. Nothing from our city engineer tonight, so we'll move on to the beautification ticket items, which the only one that we have anything would be on ticket 2021-005, and I believe Joyce is here to give us an update and kind of let us know how she's doing. If you want to come up to the podium, Joyce, if you could.
I just have one question. Am I going to get more time or what's the deal?
Do you need more time?
Huh?
Do you need more time?
Yeah, lots of time. I got kids coming again this next week.
So, how much time, more time do you think you need?
I don't know. I mean, everything has to be wiped off and hacked, and I've been working 5 to 6, 7 days a week. And I'll keep going until I get it done, but it isn't going to work with my chickens to shove them in a box because some of them are too expensive. And to try and sell them by the box, I'd probably get 10, 15, 20 bucks when one of them are probably worth 150. So it takes time, and I'm working on it.
You had mentioned at one time about having an auction. Where are you at on that?
We've got all the big equipment down to Benson, Minnesota right now for an auction. The big mixers, the bun machine, and some other big items. We got a bunch at an auction that's going on auction this next month at Minot that my grandson took back, but he couldn't take so much his time because he had to take my car with him in his trailer. So they're coming again this next Sunday for 3-4 days to help. We got a couple of the rooms done and the big stuff and got it down to the auction. Like a 1,400-pound mixer. So we have been working on the big stuff to get it at a bakery sale.
So if we said we gave you till the end of the summer or the beginning of fall, like to beginning of October, if you came back and at our first meeting and kind of gave us an update.
We're hoping to get it done by the end of September, but it's a lot of work.
So if we give you till the end of September, if you came back in October and gave us an update, the rest of the commission okay with that?
I'm good.
Okay. So yeah, just come back to us again in October, the first meeting in October.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Joyce. So there shouldn't be any other BC ticket items that I'm aware of. I believe
Has anything gone to the sheriff's department yet, or are they just still referred?
they referred, they were waiting for the contract that we signed off and the ordinance that was signed off, so we're just waiting on that approval. And I forgot to ask Charlie, send him an email and ask him today if it was done. Or it was approved at the commission meeting, at the county commission. It's whether or not the district court has signed off on it yet is where we're at. That's what we're waiting on. So as soon as that is signed off, hopefully then we have that first one.
How about the one, 21004? That's kind of the same situation?
That is the same situation. So
Just the
now the
dates.
arraignment would be this next court session if that
Okay.
contract went through.
Okay.
Which one is it? 206 4th Avenue Southeast. I believe that's the one. It is the log-sided one. I don't know if Jim, if you guys would have time, just there's piles there. That might be the easiest just to go. It's the rentals is out and it's been sitting there just being left.
Is the owner okay with that? So Jim don't get shot at?
There's no owner on the property.
No, but I mean the owner of the property.
Which address?
It's Glumsroot House, I believe.
Okay. What, some stuff on the boulevard, is that what?
It's not on the boulevard. They've left the dumpster. Their garbage cans are there with stuff and a couple other piles of stuff.
It's obvious.
It's obvious. Yep. Just keep a track of time and then we'll send that.
They're gone.
Yep. And then if that's done, we can close that ticket, I believe, so. The other question I had, and this is more for Ashley and JR. On the 2021-004 and on our electrical side, they both should have bills that weren't paid. Last year, we were going to put them in to go on the tax lien, but it was too late. So when is the deadline for that? Do you remember, Ashley?
It's this month, and I've been talking to John about it, and he was gonna look further into it, but I haven't heard anything. Do you know, JR?
Okay.
Because there has to be some sort of hearing, and it has to be sometime here in August.
Correct. It's August sometime. I can't remember the date myself, but I'll look into it or talk with John to get back to you to make sure we get that on the books.
Okay. Because then we want to make sure, especially on that one, that any bills
Right.
for the containers and all that get
Mhm.
charged out. So I'll talk about with you that later. We just want to make sure it didn't get missed. Is there quite a few that you know about that we should send on?
I asked Julie to get me a list because she does the utility billing, and we've been a little busy with other things at the office, so I'll have to double check with her tomorrow to see where that list is at.
Okay. All right. Then our next item of business will be the citywide paving project. I don't think there's an update on that.
I have nothing on it. I want to get together with Stephen Taylor, or Tyler, whichever his name is, and
Taylor.
Taylor?
Yes,
Okay.
Taylor.
I've got some different thoughts on some of the street projects, so, but I don't have anything to talk about it tonight, so,
Okay.
thank you.
Mike, anything on the process? I'm guessing not because you're going to
No, not till next week.
be, okay. See the Community Foundation update. What I had read, John had sent an email to get things worked out. They were going to have a board meeting on early this month. I can't remember the exact date,
That
but
sounds great.
hopefully the process is moving forward. So
Who's having the board meeting, the foundation or the Velva?
the Velva.
Okay.
Railroad Park, there's no update. The mural contest, I'm looking into it a little bit more. The winner, she charges $20 per square foot to do the mural. If we did that whole side, we'd need to find about $20,000 for the budget to pay for it. So I'm looking at different sizes and how we can make it work and look nice. Or if there's another spot we could put it or something. I've also thought about, could we buy just plywood and have it painted on there, and then it could be put up somewhere.
How about anybody else? Have you talked to anybody else about
I haven't
that?
talked to anybody else. Sorry, I'm. So I'll try to look, and when we have our beautification meeting, then hopefully we'll find out some more information on that too.
Mm.
Any other questions on that? 1881, that is moving forward, and I believe we'll have a hearing at the next meeting to
I
make
didn't
it.
talk to John, but that sounds good to me.
I'm trying to remember the email back that he sent me today, and he's working on that progress. The letter's been sent to the school district, so the next part is the public hearing, if I remember right. So.
Mhm.
Special Assessment Committee, we do have a third member. Paul had that.
Have you talked to him yet?
No, I haven't, because
Oh, okay.
I didn't have any information.
Oh, okay, I thought you were going to talk to him. Paul Brown.
Paul Brown.
Yep.
Because I couldn't remember, I'm trying to remember who Paul Brown is.
There you go. He's right across the corner.
My neighbor.
Yep. Getting right on the opposite corner of you.
That's what I thought. And he's also been on vacation, so.
Yeah, he just got back from vacation.
Yep,
Yep.
so, we'll check with him, we'll talk with him, and then hopefully next week we can get that settled.
I believe he's retired. I don't think he worked. If he does, I don't know.
I think he's partially retired, but he was going back to get his doctorate degree and
Oh,
stuff.
okay. I know that the only reason I know that is because he said, or the phone number was his work number, and he said that's don't work anymore, he's not there, so.
Oh. I think he was getting it in political science or something.
Was he?
Yeah.
He's very, if you don't know him, he's pretty sharp, in my opinion, he's a pretty sharp gentleman.
Yep. We'll skip to I quick because I know the budget will take a long time. So, JR, do you have anything, any updates on the outdoor drinking ordinance?
Nothing yet. I did look into it for a little bit, but I don't have any drafts or anything to
Okay.
that effect yet.
All right, so then we will open it up for the 2023 budget discussions.
If I could, for one second, are you gonna be in contact with Steve at the same time on that?
Yeah,
Working?
I'm going
Okay.
to talk to him and see what his thoughts are.
Thank you.
So if you look on this first page right here, or the first page of this packet, that would be what our certificate of our current budget, the way that it sits. It's a little different than the one that was sent out to you guys. Ashley and I worked on it today a little bit. So we would be asking the public for $315,850 to be levied for the general fund, which would be an increase of just shy of $50,000 compared to last year. Part of that, if you look in the general fund packet, that's in the 11 by 17 sheets. Or 8.5 by 11 sheets. It would be the third page down on expenditures for the general fund. You can see that we've had quite a bit of increase in from last year to this year. Our total city expenditures is at about 567,000 compared to 487 last year. And then our police department, our sheriff's contract went up. Last year we were at, or this current year we're looking at a projected of 211. Next year we're looking at 247. 247. And there is, with that, there's 10,000 in for the fire department.
Is that the one-time payment, or is that just their regular budget?
Their regular budget, I believe. Yep.
Because we gave them 10,000
Right.
for a budget plus 10,000 for their new grass unit last year.
Correct. And last year we were taking in our total expenditures for everything. Last year we were at 177 or 778,000. This coming up year we're looking at $967,000. That is just our general fund. That 50,000, the reason that Ashley and I kind of looked at trying to find a way to raise that was we're going to have to raise our water and sewer rates to help pay for the USDA loan, and we haven't done a rate study, so it's hard to look at our electrical to make sure it's true up. With this way of doing it, we would not transfer as much money out of the electrical fund. We would be asking 50,000 from property taxes, which we can, I think Ashley put it out there, we can levy up to 110 mills, and this puts us at about 67, if I remember right.
105
105
is what we can, is the max.
is the map, yep. So yeah, 105 is our max mills, and we're currently, I think it was 60, right around 67, somewhere in there.
Yeah. Let's see if I can pull it up.
Now this is with the 6% raise across the board and looking at adding that extra public works employee as we're moving in and out. If you looked through some of them, you'll see that a lot of them are turning out in the red, which is kind of concerning. To me, our three biggest funds, or I should say our three biggest revenue funds would be the electrical and water, and then sales tax. Oh, 63.17 mils is where we're at. So we're
And where were we at last year?
54, I want to say. 54 or 57.
I sent it in that spreadsheet. Let me see if I can pull it up.
So our water treatment, our water department, as of this year, it's looking like
54.35.
Yes.
I didn't want her to feel bad because she sent out that sheet.
Well, I was pulling it up. I put everything in so I could pull it up.
Yep.
It was taking
I
longer.
just forgot that you had sent that.
So it'd be just a shy over 10 mils that we'd be moving up. Now remember, this is not set in stone. This is, if we did send this off, this would be, we couldn't go any higher than this. We can come down from this as we work through, which we need to work through this a little bit more. What's concerning to me on a lot of things is like the water budget. After this year, we're projecting to be in the red about 375,000. Our garbage department we need to look at. We're projected after this year to be in the red 32,000. And our electrical fund projected to be in the red 234,000. If we take the 50,000 out of it, that means that we're not going to, normally we would transfer out of the electrical fund to the general fund to help cover. But we'd bring that down from 110 to 60,000, and hopefully then our electrical fund next year should be right around about 44,000 in the red. So we're getting that number down. Yes, Rick? For a long time, the electrical fund has been in the black. The first time that we know of, that I know of, was 2019. We hit the red. We were at about 50,000 in the red that year, and the last couple of years we've been in the black. But this year, especially, we're going to have a big in the red, but a lot of that is under the interstate, that new line we're putting in, and upgrades to the substation and a few other things. We still have money in the bank, so there is some, but that number is being depleted also. After this year, we're down to about 130,000 left in there, so we got to make sure that we bring that back up. I don't want to be arbitrary, or I don't think we should, without the rate study getting done, to look at where our rates should be at. And I know we've been, what I've been told is, as far as rates in the past, we've been pretty, whenever there's been an increase from Missouri River, that's when we've increased our rates. So we haven't always looked at covering some of our costs, and with some of the infrastructure upgrades, we will have to look at a rate study down the road, so. On the water and sewer side, what was suggested to us was $1 raise per user for the sewer and $1 raise for the water to help, and that would pay off the USDA loan.
Correct.
The garbage department, we need to look at just to make sure and see if it's the, where we're losing money at. Because that one, this year, we're looking at about $70,000 in the red. Questions? Yes, Rick. Yep.
You talked about garbage rates. I brought, that recycling, I brought that up with our previous auditor. Needless to say, that won't be a place to begin. But for recycling, if you take just a man and wife like my wife and I, you take it and recycle it, and they pick it up every so often, but you still have the garbage being picked up. I think they should take a look at that, if there's a cost saver for the city. Your garbage, you take out the recycle, you've got hardly anything in your garbage for us, There's hardly anything in it. If we take the paper out, I think like in the wintertime, they should probably, because it's colder, we should, I don't know how that would work out, but I think they should pick it up every week, because we got nothing in there in 1 week's time to recycle. So, I mean, is that a place you can save? I'm just thinking, I know it wouldn't work well in the summer because of the heat and stuff.
Well, I know it's based off of the amount of loads that go out of town. And what we had, correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, if you remember, the reason we went to the recycling is it was cheaper to to fill up the recycling truck than to add a second truck to come back and take garbage.
Correct.
So that was why we were trying to hold off as long as we could for that second truck. Because it didn't matter if the truck was full or not, they charged by the truck basically. And if we had if they had to go up and come back down and get 2 loads, then that's what it cost more.
And the problem is you're like me, Rick, we only have a half a dumpster most on the recycling. But then you got other people that have 3 dumpsters and they're full every, when the time comes, so.
Well, we get charged for whether you recycle or not, but is there a way of saying yourself and myself? Do we have a place where we can just go up and dump it? Should we not have, or is that what's down there at the armory? I know there's places to dump stuff, is that recycled?
That's basically cardboard.
Just cardboard.
Yeah.
But they do have dumpsters there too.
No.
Not anymore, we don't. We used to have dumpsters where you could take your aluminum and glass, but we don't.
Okay, sorry.
I mean, I don't have any answers to it, but I'm just wondering
I think we just need to reevaluate and talk with Waste Management, yep. Thanks, Rick. The other suggestions that I had brought up that we may need to look at is in, I'm trying to find it now. 453, the Municipal Infrastructure Fund. So just on that fund, that's the one that we're getting from the North Dakota, the revenue from the oil shares, or the Prairie Dog Mummy it's called. We are projected to get, with everything, we should be at right around 416,768. Or did we get an additional 416, Ashley?
I'm looking through my sheet. That should be an additional.
I thought it was a total 416, but
Oh, I got that one. I clicked that.
I thought it was 453.
I thought I had sent it to you guys.
It's the municipal infrastructure.
yep. You had sent it, I just got it.
253.
That's what's in there right now, but we're
And we're expected to get some more.
Right.
correct.
And I printed it off. I just can't find it. But I thought I sent it to you guys. Right here.
There we go. Yeah, so total,
Is that with the 125?
well, that's, we gotta double check. Is it an additional 125, or is it the 125 from 2020 and now there's another 125? I'm not sure on that one. For sure, we'll have about 416,768 in there. And that money is to be used for infrastructure that benefits the community as a whole. And it has to be for existing infrastructure. So as we look at some projects that may be for the whole city, that's something that we can look at.
I need a motion for this too.
Actually, on 212, on the sales tax, is that 2% then? Or 212 sales tax?
For which, on 212,
Yeah.
where are you seeing 2%? So, sales tax, 1% goes to, are you talking about lodging, or are you talking about?
No, I'm just talking 212 sales tax, it's on the revenue side. Sales tax collections, 240,000. Is that 1% or 2%?
I know.
Because don't we have, I thought at one
We
time,
have no, it should be 2.5, because 1% goes to sales tax, 1% goes to debt retirement, and 0.5 goes to HEDC.
okay, so
So
it'd be
this-
212
2.5.
would be 1.5, and then the debt retirement account is where the other 1% is.
Right.
Okay,
Yes, sorry.
So the other debt retirement account the other 1% would go into fund 535.
Yeah.
So 1.5 in 212 and 1 in 535.
Correct.
And with the debt retirement account, so if you guys want to go to 535, we were supposed to be paying that out and paying off, the purpose of that one was to pay off debt that benefits the whole city. Currently, at the end of this year, we're expected to have about $490,339.83 in that. That account in the past, we have paid off different projects. We put money and paid off different bonds, different loans. Oh, that would make it easier. So we do need to look at paying some of that out because we almost should be zeroing that out every year to pay off some loans. But the water tower would be one place that we could do it. And there's a recommendation that we put $202,200 towards that. And if we're to do that, we need a motion to move that.
That's a good place for it. I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Properly moved and seconded. Moved by Dave, seconded by Mike. Any other discussion?
So you're putting this towards the water treatment plant or the water tower?
Water tower.
The principal.
Principal on it. So
Okay.
that should drop
And
off
what's the principal on the water tower right now?
957,000. So that would drop by about 4 years. By doing this, instead of 2029, we should have it paid off around 2025.
And why did you decide to go with water tower versus water treatment? Just flip of the coin, or?
Because that's the one with the biggest debt.
Okay.
It's the highest dollar amount that's left, I do believe. Or is it the water treatment plant?
Water treatment has the highest one, but I don't think it would be a bad idea to start paying off some of these ones to get paid off early, where the water treatment affects more than just the residents.
And then on the,
Which on the water treatment, if you were wondering, Paul, that one's at about 3 million right now.
Just so I understand these funds, is it, if they hit zero, some of these go away? And some of these that have these balances can be moved to others to pay off those other funds?
The
Am I
debt
understanding that?
retirement, yes. And there are ones that, I'm working on, Julie and I are working on, that are out of Starion. I thought they were out of Bank of North Dakota, so I called the wrong bank, but I got those, balances as well, so we can update the, debt sheet. But we have to get a hold of Starion to see, cause there are a couple funds that should be closed or close to it, and then once those payments are all done, we have to keep it open usually for about 3 years, just to bring in any trickle down of assessments or payments. And then after that, yes, we can close it out, and then it gets transferred into the general fund, and from there, we can use it as we need.
Is it just the debt retirement that can be moved, or are there other ones that can move to?
There'd be other ones.
Okay.
The other ones, possibly, if there's many left, would be the Prairie View, the River Bend, and
There's like 4.
there's one other in the water treatment, or the water, Highway 200, I think, is done also.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Rick.
Thinking about what Paul said, why did you pick the ones you picked? I have no clue. Is there what's the interest on these various projects? Is there some? And how much are they there when you're looking at paying them off? Are you taking the highest interest, the ones with the highest interest, or just ones that you just want to get done?
The interest varies on each one. 1 second.
Are you paying off the highest one? Makes a lot of difference.
I do have it. I have a lot of papers, so bear with me. Okay, so the what Julie and I don't understand, there's two, maybe you can understand it, there's two water tower loans out. One's at 2.5 and one's at 0.5. Let me find the rest of them. The water treatment plant is at 2%.
So yes, so the difference is there's two funds. One that we are paying at an interest rate of 2.5% with an administration fee of 0.5%. So we're at 3% on that, and that is our outstanding balance on that is $100,000. The larger loan for the water tower, or excuse me, this is the water tower project. The majority of it is at 0.5 interest rate and then a 0.5 administration fee. So the smart thing would be to pay off this 100,000 on the one loan.
On the water
Right.
tower.
On the water tower, so that'd be about 100,000. And then this other one, the water treatment plant, we have 1.5 million left outstanding balance, and that interest rate is at 2 and administration fee of 0.5%. So to answer your question, the water tower does have some at a higher rate than the water
I
treatment.
must misunderstood you. I thought you said there was 3 million on the water treatment earlier.
That's what I thought. That must have been the total amount that we borrowed.
Okay.
So the outstanding balance right now is 1.49.
Okay.
I got these right before I left work.
And then I noticed on the debt retirement, that's 1% of the sales tax, right? Of the
Mhm.
2.5, and you got
Yep.
that at 202. And you got it back here for sales tax on 212, you got 1.5, but you only have that at 240.
That number needs to, yeah, those
And-
two numbers, sales tax need to change because I don't think those are right.
Right.
Which one?
On both the sales taxes, the debt retirement and, 212 and 535, the amounts need to change. Because we are looking at this year, when I went back in and looked at it, probably about 550,000, I think, if I remember right. Through sales tax, we're looking at generating this year.
So the debt retirement might be pretty close, but the sales tax at 212 is probably a little low.
Correct.
Probably about $60,000 low.
Yep.
Okay.
just by going with the 200,000 on that 1%, so.
So back to the motion of. Where did she put it? Oh, I said it here somewhere.
Now you look like me.
Do you mind while you're looking for that, what other, this is for debt retirement, what other areas, other than the water tower and the water treatment plant, what other areas do we have a lot of debt retirement to work on? I'm assuming Prairie View is getting down there,
That was-
Riverbend should be little or
Both
nothing,
of those should be done.
and the street project.
The street project
Was
would be the
the-
next one, but we haven't figured out what we're doing yet.
No, I'm talking about the 2007 one, that should be, that's all specials, but
Right.
wasn't there another one that there was?
So
that were-
Julie and
that
I
did-
were, that's where I have to get a hold of Starion because I didn't realize that we used two different banks. And so I only reached out to Bank of North Dakota. I didn't realize we were using Starion. So tomorrow I'm gonna reach out to Starion and see if I can get the loan amounts for those projects.
Mhm.
And then I'll have a better idea of what.
So basically what I'm asking is what all can we use the debt retirement for besides the water treatment plant and the water tower? Is there any?
So the Riverbend is done and paid off. The water main project is done and paid off. The 2007 street and Prairie View, that looks to be paid off this year. That's the one she has to double check on Starion with. The Highway 200, the 2008 Highway 200, 527.
We're not.
There's two of them. One looks like it was paid off early, and then the other one appears to be done this year, but she has to double check on those two.
Because it looks like specials are done on that one, but we still show that there's payments. So Julie and I aren't really sure what
We're in
happened
assess-
there, so that's why I need to double check with Starion and see where we're at.
Okay.
And then, so the ones that we know that we have to pay off yet are the water tower, water treatment plant, Kingman Sewer. We have a bank loan for the equipment
In the building.
and the building.
Yep.
So those are there's 1, 2, 3, 4 that we could use it.
Payment, sewer, equipment, and building?
Correct. And so that fund is supposed to be used for what would benefit the citizens the most. So debt retirement, the two best places that you could put it would be then the water tower or.
Do you know how much is left on the Kingman Sewer and that?
Kingman Sewer looks like it's quite a bit because it gets paid more and more as we go. Or
Which
no,
one was-
Sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. So 60,000, and it's supposed to be paid off in 2028.
So the Jim, the Kingman, that was the one that was done by the campground then, or no, that's the other one to the
That's for the west side store.
west side sewer? And that's the one that that Hillsboro EDC was supposed to pay on some?
Correct.
And I don't see that in here. I know they've made payments this past year, and I don't see that in the revenues for that Kingman Sewer addition. The last one was 2019, and I know they made payments this year.
I'll ask Julie.
Okay.
Well, it looks like that 17,000, I think that is the payment on our assessments. That seems to be the right amount that HEDC paid.
But didn't you do that in 2022, or was it last year you did it?
I think we just recently did it last meeting or so.
So we wouldn't have it yet.
We wouldn't have it in this, in 2021, it shows here yet, but we just made it in 2022.
So we wouldn't have it then. If you just made it in July, so then I wouldn't put that in the fund statements until August.
So you guys, you made payments of 17,000 in 2020 and 2021,
That sounds correct.
okay? And then you made another 17,000 again this year?
Yep.
So we'll go back to the motion that we have on the floor. That is that we'd have $202,200 to go towards the water tower payment. Is that where we would still like it to go?
Or would you do the 100 and then do the other 200, 102 to the water treatment plant being its higher interest?
Right, or do we want to spend more in there? Like I said, there's, debt retirement again, 5.
Then you can even go so far as, like what he said, what is the interest on the other ones for the equipment and all that stuff too, so. But
Right, do we know what it is
that's
on the
splitting,
They don't know.
that's just making it more
Julie
complicated.
probably does, but I don't have that here. right
I was
now.
thinking it was around 4, if I remember right.
That part I don't know. That part I don't have with me.
Just depends on how important that is to everybody, I guess.
Should we hold off on that portion of it?
Well, I think we can definitely do the, what we got on the,
Water tower.
on the 100,000 on that 2.5%. I'm
Okay.
sure we can do that, but,
That's on the one loan for,
That's on one of the loans.
that's on
yep.
one of the loans, so
what's the interest on that?
that one was 2.5
3
plus
and
a half,
So it'd be 3.
3.5.
3%,
3%.
3%, so.
So would you, do we want to amend the motion so it's 100 or whatever's needed to pay off that loan amount on those other sheets? It'd be loan number 141.5 with the Bank of North Dakota.
For how much?
For right now, there's outstanding balances right at 100,000. But I'm sure there's interest and whatever else that may be charged.
I'll amend my motion to,
Okay. Dave amends the motion so that is that.
You need a second on that?
Yes.
I'll second.
Mike seconds. There is two other loans that we have out too. That is the water main replacement. We'll have to work on this. Because these might be paid off, correct? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, that's the one where people are done paying specials, but we still have a balance, principal balance. So I just have to ask, Mark, if that's normal or if something happened that I don't know about in past years. I'm not sure.
Or was there supposed to be funds and it didn't get transferred?
That could be too. I don't know. That's why I have to ask.
So on that question that we're talking about, it's the two for the Highway 200 project, one for the clean water lines and one for the sanitary improvements. Both of those are at 3%, and it looks like one has.
Do we have those, or do you just have that yourself?
He's looking at
Okay,
I'm looking
okay.
at them. It looks like it actually doesn't say how much is left, so,
That's why we're confused. Like,
yeah.
it doesn't have an outstanding balance. Those got sent to me. The reason you guys don't have them, they got sent to me literally at the end of the day, so.
The only reason I ask is if we had it, then we could look at it and see.
I know, I'm sorry.
Paddle it
No,
around.
no, that's fine, that's fine. No.
So the motion is that we'll pay off the one loan, the 541.5, I think it is, or something.
141.5.
141.5. Is there any other discussion? Mike,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes,
Nicole,
Yes.
Dave,
yes.
and a yes for me.
so you can get all the interest on what would qualify under this debt retirement so that we kind of have, know
Yeah.
where we're at.
We'll figure that out for the next meeting as what interest rates we're at
Mm-hmm.
and where else we should be putting it off.
Yeah, this is just a preliminary budget,
Yep, I
so
know,
we
that's-
can always come down on numbers. We just can't go up.
Mhm.
Yep.
Can I ask you a question?
Yep.
Talking about the various things that are gonna be paid off this year. Okay, we're all before this, and if I'm getting ahead of you, just tell me. But, you're talking about the
I don't have the exact figure, but I know just from just thinking about like my own specials, and everybody's are different. I know you're talking about like as a person, as a citizen, right? Or you mean as a city? I'd have to figure that out. I don't have that number, Rick.
I mean, this is the preliminary.
Yep.
Right.
That's something I think we need to know before we have another meeting, is to know exactly how much we're gonna save.
So, so
Or we come up with figures of increase.
what I can tell you, Rick, is that the two street projects that are appearing to come up, when we are the 2007 street project, when that is done, our payments currently are $335,000.
But you said you had like 2 or 3 or so.
So that's one of the projects. The other project that is coming up that's supposed to go off is the Highway 200. If that one is paid off, then that's about 35,000.
You have more than that.
That's 4 of them right there. So it'd be $300,000 payments that we pay out of specials. So that doesn't come out of the general fund. That comes out of the specials. That'll should be coming off this year, about the way it looks.
Thank you.
Any other questions? So we'd be levying $315,850 is what we're looking at. We'd levy an additional $10,000 that goes into the emergency fund, $10,000 that goes into the cemetery fund. The airport, we pay $20,000, and the rec district is at $20,000. So we'd be looking at $375,850 total amount levied.
They can levy up to 4 mills, and when I talked to Les, he asked me to get him at that 4 mill mark, and that's exactly 20 grand.
What is the airport use that money for? I know you federal funding for just about everything out there, so maybe you can't answer that, but I'm curious.
I think
$5,000 increase, that's about a 30% increase.
there's local share parts of the grants that they have to pay for, and I believe the maintenance and different things that aren't covered that they're not getting, because I can't remember if they're getting state or county sales tax also, or county.
I know they get something from the county because he had sent me the same budget that he sent over to the county. But he had asked me to get them to 4 mills, and that's what it came out to when to get them that 4 mills was the 20 grand.
I guess it answers the question, I don't agree with that, but
That would be their board that you'd have to talk with.
They are already getting 3.23, correct?
Yep.
So they're increasing it by 0.7.
Yep. Any other questions on the budget?
A lot of questions, but probably not gonna get done tonight.
I should say, any questions on the general portion of the budget?
Just a quick question, I know I'm on the wrong side of the fence here, but on the sheriff's budget, what does he figure that extra $37,000 is?
So what they're doing, which is nice on our part, previously we had to buy a vehicle every so many years. Now they're putting it in a special fund, so it's every year spread across the board. So we're not gonna see that influx of
The vehicle.
a vehicle charge of 50,000 every few years. So that would be 1 year it's 190, and then the next year it's 240 because of a vehicle charge. That was the reasoning behind it, and they went across the board. They got all cities that are doing it to do that, that it's one flat fee. This is budgeted, and they do go by actual numbers, so sometimes I believe this year we had some money left in the account that they'll,
They credited back.
Whatever happened about 2 months ago when, the brewery was waiting for the sheriff to sign off on the permits, and did that ever happen? Have we got a signed piece of paper at the lawyer's office or here, that was supposed to happen?
as far as for,
You guys were fighting over here about, his permitting, and if the sheriff signs off, we can let him go ahead and open the doors and whatever.
Yeah, we have copies of all that. And he's got them displayed at the place too, doesn't he?
Liquor license, yeah.
Liquor, you're talking liquor license and everything that we were talking about? Were you talking about liquor license, or what were you talking about? Yeah, that's, we have copies of all that, yeah, and he has them displayed in his business too, so.
Did the sheriff sign off?
I don't, that's why I was wondering which one, because the sheriff wouldn't sign off on the state liquor license, no. I think what you're talking,
Minutes of your meeting here about 2.5 months.
I think what you're maybe talking about is the fence, maybe?
Yeah.
Correct, the patio.
On the patio fence, then we just approved that last meeting, didn't we, or a meeting before? Last meeting, so I don't know if anything has been done about it since, if the form has been written up, or, we approved the last draft of it last meeting, and I don't think, a final, I don't know if it was, how that would, because it was in there, right, for the signature for the sheriff, so now whether or not that was ever presented to him, that would be a good question.
No,
Yeah,
I
so-
haven't,
yeah, so, well, we haven't really seen the last, we approved it with changes, so we really, what we need is the final of it, so that, and then that should have that should have the form that goes to the sheriff to sign, because there was a signature line on it. Whether or not it got done is a good question. I think you're right. I don't know if it was done or not, so.
if I remember right, when we met with Steve and Charlie, Steve said that he was okay with the last liquor license change. Whether or not he signed off over there, I don't know, because we haven't issued a
Right.
patio permit for him yet.
Was that with the agreement to change, but he's got to put up the actual.
The way I remember it was supposed to be the fence, it was supposed to be a fence, yeah.
Within,
But within so many months, he had to do it, so.
so to answer the question, as far as we know, he does not have a permit, nor have we issued any patio permits at this point.
correct.
No. Are you gonna be able to follow up on that, to make sure that paperwork is gotten, and then
Does that make
who would make sure that it gets to him? Or he hasn't really applied for a patio permit per se, because we just approved it, so.
Right.
I'll work with Ashley to make sure we make some type of application or some other form to tack on to the liquor license, and then we'll send a courtesy copy over to him.
Sure. Is
Does that answer your
okay,
question?
Chuck?
That takes care of that one, yeah.
Okay, well, at least we got one of them.
I will say, on the budget, it does look a little bit worse, and part of the hard part for Ashley to get done is that a lot of the transfers that were supposed to get done over the last several years haven't. So we're trying to catch up on those and make sure that the funds are where they're supposed to be. I will assure that there is money in the bank, enough to cover everything. It's just that they're not necessarily in the correct funds, because there was
We're still fixing.
still fixing.
Is on the generation project, those payments that we get, it looks like 136,000 every year? Can you explain that, Jim? That's for just what you generate for electricity? How does that work? How do we get that payment, or is that just a?
We talked about that earlier, and we're not quite sure.
Okay.
I know we do pay them whenever we run the generators, but not that amount, so I'm not sure where it's coming from, but
Okay.
do you understand what it's for?
Mm.
Do you understand what it's for?
No, I don't.
It's set up for major repair if one of the generators was to go down,
Okay.
whether it's an engine or the windings, so just so we're backed up with, and I don't know what the cap on that is.
Okay. So I know, so back in 2020, you transferred out $100,000 for doing repairs, correct? That's what you use that for, to kind of get some of that MRS? Yeah. So what kind of numbers do you think that they need to be held in that account? Do you need, because it's at, if I'm reading it right, was it 760? Is I'm reading right? This is 520. Well, this might be the wrong one, because you changed it on me. Let me look at your new one.
The fund would still be the same.
520, what's your question, Paul?
Well, I'm just wondering if there's any, if we're looking at doing a lot of electrical work, is there any way we can transfer some more out of that to help on the electrical side, is what I'm looking. That's kind of where I'm trying to get to.
So I asked Mark about this one, and this should actually, this was a specific project, if I understood correctly, to get the generators up and running. And he said that this should actually, since this project is done, we should actually close out this account and get, I think he said like a 400 account set up specifically for the generators, to where this money, still have this payment going, but go into a 400 account, so that it is building up money. So if something happens to the generators, say something breaks on the generator,
Mhm.
we need a new generator, that we have the money in the funds in here to be able to take out. My understanding is it's only for the generators. Does that answer your question?
Well, you did transfer some out, so it must not be only for the generators.
There was work done on the generator.
Work done on the generators,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
So that's a different $100,000 than I'm thinking of then. What's the $100,000 I'm thinking of, Levi, that you did to kind of take some of the things on the list? Where did that money come from?
Out of you mean where we dropped down on the electrical transfers?
No, I'm talking in past, before I wasn't even on, you transferred some money to help take care of some of the lists that was.
We didn't transfer, we just said that he could spend up to 100,000 out of the electrical fund.
Out of the electrical fund, okay.
Electrical
okay.
fund reserves.
Okay.
On general maintenance
Yep.
of the electric system.
So it's just a different 100,000, so
Correct.
thanks for clarifying that.
The other thing that I'd like to see us do is on the equipment fund 450. Currently, we just transfer in money as we're paying off a loan. Should we be putting 10 or 5,000 in there additionally out of the other funds to help build that up, so that if something happens and we need a piece of equipment, we have some funds set aside?
How much can we set aside for that without a dedicated? Is there a limit on that? I thought they said that when we were out in Bismarck, didn't they, Nicole, say something about that on equipment, that they had to have, you could only have so much unless it was dedicated, when it got to that amount, you had to kind of dedicate it towards a project of some sort? I could be.
I don't remember that.
I can reach out to Stephanie at League of Cities and ask her.
Because I agree with Levi, I think we should be putting money aside in there.
Are you talking more than the 25 we transfer in now?
Well, the 25 we transfer now is paying off the loan, because we're transferring into that account that then pays off the loan for the payloader and the
Right.
snow blower.
I'm thinking back when we didn't have those loans, that we were that was just to build the bank up. So.
And we were, and now we kind of quit that, so we need to start doing that again.
I think you should look into it and see how much and I think it's a good idea to start building up a fund.
Right. And the same thing with the capital projects, the 215, because that would be another place when we looked at adding on to, we added the building on for Public Works, that could have been a place that we took it out of to help pay for some of that, so.
Nothing wrong with having something like that.
215 and 450.
Which 15?
215 and
Okay.
450.
Yep.
I just gotta write a note.
Jim, did you have any, I know you talked to Ashley about some of the equipment. Is there any other equipment we need to look at in the next few years?
The only thing that I can think of is,
Graphing.
sorry,
The graphing.
we wanted to add that.
That's already in here,
Um,
isn't it?
Yep.
Would be the backhoe.
Okay.
So, I can't remember how old it is. And we usually rotate that, 7 to 10 years. So
What did you say, Jim? I didn't hear you.
The backhoe.
the
Oh,
backhoe.
the backhoe, okay.
Otherwise, I think we're doing pretty good unless one of the older ones something were to go wrong with it, but I think we would be repairing it before we'd be replacing it, so.
Okay.
As of right now, I mean, we've received a lot of stuff in the last few years and we're grateful for that. It really helps us, so. I think we're doing okay.
You have down in, 7,500 for a new pickup, is that?
That would be for replacing that 2003,
The black one?
the one that's.
Are you buying a used pickup, or is that what you're?
No, I mean, that would be a, state bid price.
That would be out of each fund. Like
Yeah.
the 4 funds would be the 75.
I told her 30,000. The last one we bought was 24. I'm just guessing at an increase with the price of vehicles. I don't know.
And that's coming out of where, Ashley?
For the 4 accounts, the,
Water, sewer, electric,
yep,
So it says new PW pickup 7,500
that's
Per
just
fund.
per fund,
per fund, okay.
yep,
So I don't think she put it on every fund, so it'd be
Okay,
yeah, sorry.
water, sewer.
okay, I
electric.
get it now. And then
Sorry.
2,000 for a flatbed for,
Put
That-
on them.
put on one of your trucks.
Yep,
Okay. Okay, for a minute I was going, you're looking for a $7,500 repair, but, when I
No.
know
The purposes only. What are you gonna do with the old pickup?
Put it up for bids.
Are you gonna put it up for bids?
Yeah.
Didn't the last one just get sold to an employee?
No.
That was put
That
on
was
bid.
put up on bids and he bid on it.
Yeah. He was,
'Cause I had the same model pickup, and 480,000 miles on it. It was a Volvo electric pickup. I sold it to a guy in Moorhead. I know what you got for it. I got $2,100 for it.
Okay.
Maybe we should look at, when you put it up for bids, do a little more advertising or, contact Dallas.
And that's what we do is we advertise for bids and I don't know how else you,
Did we not put,
All
We
I'm
could-
saying is, that you both did the same thing, and, this isn't your fault,
I thought we did auction.
and we've done, the last one we did an auction, we can do that and put a minimum on it, I guess, I think, so.
well, didn't that pickup go for like $500 and some dollars?
It was, but that was the highest bid.
That was the highest
bidder,
bid.
yeah.
We had 4 or 5 bids.
Yeah.
We had 4 or 5 bids, but
I had the same vehicle, with probably 4 times.
Well, you did good. We should give them to you and you can sell them.
Probably could do that.
Okay.
Helping because it's money for the city.
Yeah.
It
yeah,
is.
I agree.
I'm not sitting here
I don't-
criticizing anybody. I'm
I
just
don't,
saying-
I don't even want to bring up what we gave that old blade away for, so that's the process, so, yeah.
But, we gotta start thinking about trimming some things rather than keeping on raising everything and somebody somewhere is gonna get caught with short money.
thank you, Chuck. Any other So we'll look at adding some money into you want both capital projects and equipment? 'Cause that would be the place to start putting it in, so we could pay for a new backhoe and some of those things.
Sure.
How much?
We'll sit and figure it out. There's no other discussion on the budget. I'd entertain for a motion for us to submit to the county our preliminary at $315,850 for the general fund and $10,000 for emergency, $10,000 for cemetery, 20 for airport, 20 for rec, for a total of $375,850 to be levied for the 2023 year.
So the only one that the mills increased on, or the general and the airport, did the emergency and all the other ones, they increase?
And the rec, I believe, went up a little bit too.
Okay.
On these mill increases, are they only allowed to go up so far?
Correct.
Okay.
That's that spreadsheet I sent where the
Yeah.
max is on. Paul, I can answer you 1 second.
I can write it down here right away, because you went to 64 on the general,
Okay, last year.
63.17.
63.17.
Oh, you want the actual mills?
Yeah, if we could, on emergency and cemetery, if anything went up.
I don't know the actual mills off the top of my head.
Well, you got the mills for
have that open.
2022.
Right, so
If I remember right, they're at 1.9 or 1.8.
On which one?
On emergency and cemetery. Because they're both levying the same amount.
Okay.
I want to say it's 1.8 or 1.9.
I can pull it up, hold on.
And the airport, they went to 4, you said, right?
They went to 4, yep.
And the rec district was at 4, and they're
They're staying at 4.
staying at 4.
Rec is at 4, airport's at 4, cemetery is at 2, and their max is 2. And then emergency is 2,
Okay.
and general is 63.17.
Thank you.
Yep.
Did they give you any idea on the 23 on the mill, what the price is gonna be? No clue yet? I wouldn't think the tax
Around-
valuation would go down, but
Around, it was a little higher, it's around
5,000,
5,000.
yeah.
Yep.
That's an easy way to figure the mill that way too.
Yep,
Thank you for that information.
you're welcome.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion to approve the preliminary budget?
So moved.
Paul moves. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Properly moved and seconded. Is there any other further discussion? Nicole? Oh, Paul, did you have?
Well, everything, you don't have any other questions on your side? Everything is good? And Jim too? You're good with everything?
Okay.
And,
Nicole?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
And a yes for me. Next item of business is new business, and we have the City Hall business hours request. I'll let Ashley talk about that.
Okay. We've talked about this a few times, even last year, but we never actually requested this, but we would like to either, and I sent everybody, all the commissioners, a proposal letter, and I forgot to print it off for myself. We would like to either keep summer hours year round so that we work Monday through Thursday, 7 to 4:30, and then Fridays, 8 to noon, or whatever day. It could be half a day on Wednesday to help with making up time, with training purposes, with if you just have, like Julie and I have a lot of work that we just need closed office hours so that we can get some stuff done. Saturday I was at the office for 6 hours just so I could get some stuff done without phones ringing, people coming in, different things like that. The reason we are asking just to keep summer hours because that's what people are already used to, but like I said, it doesn't have to be Fridays because I know some people might think we just want a long weekend, and that's not the case. A lot of times I'm here after the noon closing time anyways, but it can be Wednesday, Tuesday. We're just asking for some more flexibility so that we can have some quiet time where we can actually get some work done, or if we have an appointment during the week that we can make that time up if we so choose. And it's not just me, it's the whole office asking. So I said I would bring it to the table.
I think when Ashley and I talked, and also talking with Julie and Sarah, it would be good for us, for them to have some time to get some stuff done. Whether we say it's not necessarily every Wednesday, could be every other Wednesday. We have some big items that aren't getting accomplished because they're running out of time. One being is our rate study. Another one is our East Central Water True-Up. They've just got to sit down and be able to have that time. And whether there's a way to do this to make it work so that we have some dedicated time that they can work without the phone ringing and different things. That way it's pre-planned ahead of time, not necessarily people would know when the office is closed. We could schedule special times for people to come in during those, but it was just a request that they asked. Yes, Rick.
How about the people that are coming in? Is there people coming in at 7 in the morning? I mean, not uptown that much, but I don't see any abundance of cars standing up here at 7 in the morning.
We do get some
What about the
people.
public? Are we gonna take care of them or what? That you got 3 people in the office now and now you want to shut it down? I don't quite get that.
We're
We
not
don't
shutting
have-
it down, Rick.
How you are for a period of time.
But we don't have time to train. Sarah, there are things that Sarah should be doing that we have not had time to train because today I had 3 people in my office. We still serve the public and that's what we want to do, but we also need to make sure we're getting our work done. And right now, there's some things like Levi said is not getting done because I am way different than the last auditor. If somebody comes in and wishes to speak with me, I allow them to come into my office and speak with me. I'm not going to tell them to get out. That's just not, to me, that is not good customer service. If they have a question, I'm going to do my best to answer it, and that's the same with the city staff. And so we're just asking for time. A lot of times I come in 6, 7 o'clock in the morning before the office opens. Well, right now we're open at 7, but I come in a lot before the office even opens just so I can get in there and focus and get some work done. I say after hours quite frequently for the same reason, because it's really hard to get something done when you're in the middle of something and then the phone rings, or when you're in the middle of something and somebody comes in the office. It's hard to consistently get work done.
Well, you know, I'm not comparing myself, but when I was in business, I had people coming in and out all the time. And I got my work done. And, the thing of it is, you know, you hear a lot of people saying you're gone. You're gone to some sporting event.
When am I gone?
I don't know, coaching or something. I've heard this before. And I'm not picking on you because you compared yourself to the former auditor. You're much better than that. So don't think I'm picking on you. I'm just saying, I think we gotta think about the public and the people that are paying everybody's salary.
I'm in the office Monday through Friday, and during volleyball, I do coach. But that is also something that, when I had my interview, was very important, that I got involved with the community, and that's a second income for me. And so I come in early, and yes, I leave at 3, but I'm here every single day.
Why don't we, wanna talk about treating, the public good? 7 o'clock in the morning, and I agree with Rick, I drive around town all the time, Jim Anderson will attest to that. 'Cause I got my nose in everybody's business, open the damn office up at 8 o'clock, keep it open till whatever your hours permit for the 5-day hourly week, if that's 5 o'clock. Run like normal hours, and this idea about having, free time, we got by here with an auditor and an assistant for years. Everything got done probably a hell of a lot better than it's getting done now.
Things have
Just
changed.
wait, Ash.
I'm just saying, we got a lot more going on, we got a lot more people working, but, coming at 7 o'clock, all that tells me is you're gonna be in the office for an hour. My God, if nobody's out there, you should be getting lots of work done, and this idea you're answering the phone, are you the designated one to answer the phone?
I'm not, no, but there's times where I have to. If I'm the only one in the office, I gotta answer it.
Isn't Julie there every day?
Not every day. She has appointments for herself, for Dan. Sarah has appointments for children. There's times that I'm in there alone.
It can be once in a while, it can't be every day of every week.
So that's not what that's not the reason behind this, Rick and Chuck. What I see this being is that it's a part of our redundancy plan that is not in place. We hired another person to help with the work, but also to learn what the other two are doing. And what's not happening for the last 2 years, since we've had this position thereabouts, is that each one is having to learn, let's say, Banyan on their own, because we don't have time in the day for the 3 of them to sit down for an hour or 2 to get working on Banyan, or to work on fund accounting, or to work on the budget, or those things that the knowledge that needs to get passed around so that we can do a better job. Because what happened, which was really good, when Leslie was here and Julie was here, they knew what they were doing. They've been here for a long time. I don't think this is a long-term thing that I hope we don't have to do forever, but this could be something that we could shut it down once in a while. I mean, it's no different than other places having to go do training for a day here or there. That's what we're looking at, is just getting the okay to sit down, do training amongst themselves so that we can do it.
You mean the 8 times sometimes what gets slower, that they have time to do this?
There isn't.
I find it hard to believe, but I don't work in there, so I wouldn't know. It's just,
I know it's hard to believe, but the phone rings probably on average once every 15, 20 minutes.
well, I manage a couple places in this town, in fact. One place had 21 employees. We had a secretary bookkeeper there that answered the phone. And I mean, when you say so many per minute, I'll bet you took maybe 20 phone calls every half hour.
So the other thing that you have to remember is that we are fixing things from
18.
2018. That's what we're trying, and it is not that they're doing a bad job. It's not that they're not doing their job. It's they're trying to do their regular job plus fixing and catching up from since 2018.
And training.
And
One thing I'll add here is go ahead and do what you think is proper to do, but don't let it be cast in stone that she comes back 2 years from now when you wanna cut it out. And she says, oh, that was part of my program that you gave me. If it's gonna be cast in stone for the rest of the time,
no, if we would do this, I would say that we do it for 6 months, see how it went, and reevaluate and kind of go from there, if that's what we want to do.
You know, in defense of Ashley, I know what's going on. You are correcting a heck of a lot of problems that weren't addressed before. I know
I think it will be, when the times are shut down, it doesn't necessarily have to be, we could say from 10 to 2, where people we don't, aren't going to see as many, or from 1 to 4, whatever it is, where you're not going to see people coming in, where there are those lulls, but at least if we can publish that ahead of time that says on the 2nd and 3rd Wednesday of the month from X time to X time, the office will be closed. You can email or leave a voicemail message for us to get back. If it's an emergency with the outage, we have the Public Works number there, which brings me up to another point before I forget. I'll add this in quick. I think we should add, because it's hard, not everybody knows that number for the outage, that when there is an outage, which number to call. So it'd be a good idea maybe next year to send out a calendar, a magnetic calendar that we could put on the fridge with the number of, this is the emergency outage number, and possibly even the recycling schedule on it. Something similar to that. I'll digress from that, but you know, so there's still going to be no worries if the power goes out. Somebody will get a hold of and we'll make sure of it. Or if there's an emergency, they can stop what they're doing. We'll figure it out and we can move forward. So that is the one thing, you know, when I brought up that we want to work on the customer service and make sure helping our public, this is one way, whether it doesn't seem like it necessarily, it is going to help the public in the end, because we're trying to get caught up from 2018. And this is one way, hopefully, we could do this.
I got a thought for Ashley. You know, Ashley, if this is something that you think is necessary, like the post office, we know when we can go up there and when they're closed at a certain time. I don't think it should be just randomly, you know, this day and that.
No,
day.
I agree.
I think if you did it like the post office does, we know like it is, what is it, 1 to 2 or something?
2 hours.
Right.
2 hours. They're closed.
And, I think if you're gonna do something like this, make it the same time.
Right. That's what I was just saying. It doesn't have to be Fridays, but yes, I agree. It needs to be one set time, and I apologize if I was not clear about that. No, I definitely agree. It needs to be one set day. And it has to stay that way so people know. No, I was not meaning that I would jump. No, that's not what I meant. So I'm really sorry if that's how that came off. I was just saying it doesn't have to be Fridays. It can be whatever day of the week that the commissioners would like it. We just need some help. I didn't get this job handed to me on a silver platter. There's a lot of stuff going on, and we're drowning basically, and we can't get Sarah trained in, because I am constantly getting new stuff. I'm constantly on the phone, emailing, doing this, doing that. It's nonstop, and the same for Julie. And we have tried to set up training time, and then things happen. Emergencies come up, or Jim needs something, or Paul comes in, or even just a citizen. And I do think the customer service has gotten drastically better since I got in there. I am there a lot. I do coach volleyball. But like I said, I go in earlier and I'm still there every single day. So we just need some help right now to get caught up on some stuff, because right now the state auditors are even having troubles figuring out what in the world the last one did. So how am I supposed to? You know what I mean? So we need some time so where I can sit down, and that's why I come in early a lot, is because we need time where we can just sit and just focus and not get interrupted with any outside things. So again, I apologize if I sounded like I was all over the board. I should have been more specific. Just pick one set date, and that'll be it for whenever Levi or the commission decides to pull it.
I didn't mean to single you out. I just was saying that we need to make it more customer friendly, so we know exactly when it is, and go by that.
Right.
No, I understand what training's all about. It costs money to train.
Right. Yeah. I'm sorry if I did not mean for the hours to sound like they'd be all over. So that was my fault.
Explained it, that's great. And taking off Friday afternoon when it first come out, just what you said. You know, I don't know, you throw late
should be the same day every single week.
Respect,
Thank you.
respectfully though, how is this gonna help you? Cause you're still in the office the same hours.
Not really though, because I stay
No,
after.
but what I'm saying is wouldn't you be better off, like they were saying, that you might wanna shut down an afternoon one day or something?
Well, and we
And not,
can.
you know, because you'd made the comment, you know, that it wasn't necessarily for overtime, but the way you're doing it, it would be for overtime because you're still open the same hours. You're still gonna have the same interruptions. What you need is time to either Sarah says, or Julie answers the phone and she says, Ashley and Sarah are busy in training right now. You'll have to call back or whatever it might be respectfully so that you can dedicate time to training. Because if you don't dedicate time to training and teaching Sarah, you know, yes, it does take time away from Julie because now she has to answer the phone, but just having these hours the same way all the time, that isn't gonna really.
Well, that's not what we're saying, Paul. What we're saying is, so what I was envisioning, whether it's once a month or twice a month, so, you know, if we said it was the first and third Wednesday of the month, on the first and third Wednesday at 1 o'clock, the office would be closed for all traffic, outside traffic. The office would still be open where all three of them would be in there working, but that's their dedicated training is that time. For all three of them to sit down and do the training that needs to get done.
But that's different than achieving,
It's
that's why.
it's kind of two different options.
Right.
The one that I gave and then the one that Levi came into my office afterwards and had said we could do this too.
Right.
And it doesn't matter to me either way.
Well, I
you
just
wanna
think
do
that
it.
option's gonna give you a better chance to get things done, because this isn't gonna really change anything unless you work overtime
Well,
on Friday or a Wednesday, whatever. Whereas if you actually shut down,
Well, and I don't get paid overtime, but another thing Levi and I talked about, like with having that Friday afternoon still, like we do during the summer, that also gives for like flex time. So say Sarah we want to do training and use that Friday afternoon for training. So then Sarah maybe would not come in, I'm just using her as an example, would not come in one day in the morning for a couple hours. She'd come in late to make up, you know what I mean? So it's shifting
So it's
those
the same
hours.
hours each week.
As long as the thing that I told her was that as long as there's somebody in the office at all times when we say we're gonna be open to answer the phone, that was the main goal.
Right.
It doesn't matter if, you know, if they need to shift around to make sure that they're,
It's covered.
whether it's lunch or whatever, not everybody takes off at the same time of lunch, or not everybody comes in at, you know, not everybody has to come in at 7 if that's the hours we're gonna keep, or whatever the time we're gonna start.
What's wrong with taking half a day?
And that's what we're thinking, Rick.
A certain day, every week, half a day, and that's the day that everybody knows that it's not open, and then they use it for that. And then when they get caught up with all this garbage that happened before, then and I think Ashley should give you, the commissioners, a report, what they've gotten accomplished in that. And I think that would be more sense, and everybody will adapt to it.
And we could still keep the summer and winter hours. We
Right.
wouldn't have to go to just summer hours year round.
Only keep your half a day, and I think, like I said, report to the commissioners what you've accomplished, you know, how well it's going, because I'm sure they've been well under your leadership, and it's just that, you were a hell of a mess.
So,
We all know it.
would Wednesdays work good for you? Or Tuesdays, Wednesdays?
It doesn't matter.
I just thought Wednesdays are kind of a,
Wednesdays, I have HBA once a month. Tuesdays are Kiwanis every week, but I don't go every week.
well, what I was saying Wednesdays is, so we say Wednesdays at 1, which you should be done with that.
Right.
So Wednesdays at 1, the office would close, and we trial that, you could say we could trial that till the first of the year and let us know how it's going at that point.
But then put an ad in the paper, not
Right.
just a little one, put it so people, a couple, 3 weeks, so people know it.
Right, and we will, and we want to hold off, we won't start it necessarily next week, We could start it the next week after that. That way it gets published
Every Wednesday.
every Wednesday. Does it?
Operator, we were in the paper, and I better not say this too loud, but, maybe when you send out the, monthly bill, just have a letter in there saying, so everybody gets a damn bill, that they're notified, this is what's happening.
And well, we'd send it out on social media and all that other stuff. But if that's what you want to do,
That's the rules of paper.
if that is what we should do, then I'd entertain for a motion. to
So
do.
are we gonna keep the summer and winter hours, or are we just gonna go to summer hours year round?
We'd keep
I
the,
think we should keep the summer and winter. Just
Summer
because
hours
it gives
year-
you, that gives you an extra hour in the afternoon to work. Because right now, if you keep your summer hours, you'd be done, if you closed at 1, you'd only have 2.5 hours to get your stuff done. You know, so,
Do a lot of people come in through the door on a normal, typical Friday open, normal
Mhm.
hours?
So it's hit and miss.
it's like any business.
And if it's the middle of winter and it's freezing cold out, then no, we
Then
don't get a
nothing.
lot of people.
So,
So Wednesdays from 1 to 4:30 would be closed for office hours.
Yep.
Right, okay.
So what's the summer hours? When does the summer hours start?
Memorial.
What are
So
the hours?
Memorial
Memorial.
through Labor Day.
And what is the summer hours?
Monday through Thursday, 7 to 4:30 with a half-hour lunch, and Fridays, 8 to noon.
And what's the winter hours?
Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 4:30 with an hour lunch break.
So we couldn't just keep it that way and still have your one afternoon off?
You're saying we want to go summer hours year round or summer and winter hours?
Summer and winter hours?
I
Keep-
think you
Keep
could,
it the way it is.
I think you could still keep that time off on that Wednesday, no matter what hours we had.
Correct. That's what
Yes.
I'm trying to say.
Yes, that's, because the hours don't change except in the morning.
You're only doing it to get this stuff cleaned up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So does that sound okay, that we'll keep the winter and summer hours and close on Wednesdays from 1 until 4:30? If so, I just need a motion that we do
I'll
it
make a motion.
until the first of the year.
I'll
Mike,
second-
Till
I'll
first of the
second.
year.
Dave seconds. Is there any other discussion? Dave?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Paul?
yes,
And a yes for me. It didn't get put on the agenda, or didn't put on the agenda, but was in the packet. It's the demo property grant, and it's not that we need to make a decision on it tonight. I just want to know, is there support for it? Paul brought it up to HEDC at the last meeting, and it did go over that they were in support of that. This is a very draft version that I had sent out. But the gist of it would be that we'd work together to help get some of those properties that are in disarray or would need a lot of money to get it rehabbed. So the grant, it's a grant/loan. Some of the criteria would be, if the value of the property and the structure is less than 50,000 would be one of the key things. It hasn't been inhabited for the last few years, or if it's going to cost more than 50 cents, 50% of the assessed value to get it replaced. The basis of this is I just want to know if you guys are in support of this. If so, should we put some money towards it in the budget? Because we can use sales tax dollars out of it
I might need
to
that
do
back.
it.
I haven't looked at it.
But I can get your copy.
What-
can't say myself.
I
Do you
need to
have a
look at
copy of
some
it?
more.
Okay.
huh?
Do you have a copy of it?
I gave it to him.
Oh, okay.
I sent it. Oh,
Cause we're
It
giving
should be on your
1,000
computer. Oh, yeah.
now.
We're giving 1,000 now, and how it would work is that, so this is for residential and businesses. It wouldn't be anything in particular. We'll just use the chicken scratch as an example, not that I'm saying that this is what'll happen. But, so if somebody bought, it'd have to be the property owner that would do it. If they were gonna tear it down, they could get whatever we set, but in this one I say up to $4,000. Once the property is down and out, we would reimburse them. Once they hand us the bill saying that it is down and completed, we grant them $4,000. If it costs them more than $4,000 and they're not gonna build anything on it, we could work through HEDC, because it would have to be the HEDC side, which I talked to Gary about it today, would be loaned out to a maximum of, say, 14,000 to help offset for them to get it tore down, get it taken care of. A low interest loan, say at 2% or so, and they pay it off over 24 months.
It's really a more aggressive way to look at getting rid of dilapidated properties or properties that aren't lived in. Right now, we only do $2,000. It's just more of an aggressive way to do it. It's in the very infant stages of trying to figure out how to word it. So what you see in that form might not, in another, next meeting might not even resemble it, because the HEDC has to go through that too, because it's a cooperative between the two. So the city isn't stuck with all of it, nor is HEDC. And also from the standpoint that we can put a little more money because we have two entities going into it. Right now, I think he's looking at mainly residential. We're talking about at some point doing something on the commercial side too. So any input is greatly appreciated if you look at it, and I can get you a copy, or Ashley can get you a copy of what it is now if you guys are interested in giving some advice, towards it. But it's
very infant, but the biggest thing is I want to know, is this something we should stick more time and effort into? The other thing that we had said was, if they tear this building down and they now put a brand new house up, do we give them another, say, 10,000 or whatever as a way to help incentivize for a new home being built on that property that's been tore down?
But we already give them incentives for
Yeah, we
the
give them
first 75,000 of their.
We do, but there again, is this another way to help incentivize to?
But how much can we give?
I don't know. That's
that's the conversation.
Walter and Levi, I'm a member of HEDC too. It's in the infant stages. Nothing's etched in stone, but I think, and I don't speak to the HEDC, Paul, I think to verify this, he did receive a very warm greeting from Paul with this rough draft, don't you think, Paul?
Yes, everybody was in support of it from the HEDC side, and of course JR can testify to that too. That is something, but it's really in the, like you said, it's in the infant stages. We gotta work out the bugs. If you read through that, it talks about a lot of different things that we just have to find out. Okay, is the city on board? Is HEDC on board? And I think that's what Levi is trying to get at right now. Do we as city commissioners, do we feel this is something that, just like I said at HEDC, if they're not interested in putting their time into it, the city isn't. The same way here, if the city isn't going to be interested in doing it, HEDC might not be interested in doing it either. So we're kind of looking at if we can get both entities to work together, maybe we can get a good final product. But if you guys aren't interested in it, there's no sense pursuing it any further from both entities. So.
Well, I'm interested in it, but I think there's some bugs that need to be worked out.
Oh yeah, that's definitely, like I said, that's why it's in the infant stages, so.
With that help too, though, HEDC is working with them, Dave. You could take a resident that should be tore down, and you help them get it tore down, and you give them so much time. Again, this is in a rough draft. You give them so much time, and if they build, it's like becomes a grant. So then you get a home on attached to an electrical, it's gonna benefit the city, and it's just kind of the long-term effect will be very beneficial to the city.
Well, and I don't disagree with you, Rick. I just think, I'm not against helping them with the tear down, but when they're gonna rebuild, and we've already given them incentives, so.
Right. So the reason I looked at it, currently what I know of, there's 5 properties in town that are under 50,000 and don't have a resident in it. And there's about 20 properties that are valued under 50,000 total.
And this isn't unique to Hillsboro. There's a lot of communities that do this. There's samples right here that were pulled up. You know, there's towns, and they're not all big towns. This town right here, Wells, is only 2,300 people. You know, so it's not a big city thing either. There's small cities that do it also, so.
And it could be other things that we do, but so is the general consensus that this is something that the commission would like us to keep moving forward with HEDC on?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
So please read over it, send any notes to Paul and I, any changes, anything like that. The last item, I know I brought it up a little bit. Do we want to look at the calendar magnets or something similar to send out to the residents for the beginning of the year that would have the recycling on it and all the contact information on it, hours, those type of things? I think we could get them for less than $2 each.
I think it's a good idea. After hours call for city crew or you name whatever it is.
Yeah.
Otherwise you wind up calling the police department.
Need a,
And they don't always have the right number. They call Jim, I think, all the time.
I'll make a motion to move on magnets.
Okay, second?
I'll second it.
Paul seconds. Any other discussion?
I'd like to see who's gonna draft that up or what all is gonna be included on that, so.
They'll be drafted out
Okay.
before we send it up.
On top.
Call first.
Go for it.
I was thinking maybe Chuck or Rick, concerned citizens.
Sure, they probably won't get a good answer. Make sure my number's not on.
Mine either.
Whichever number it is, we can always forward it on to Paul.
Right.
They gotta get a hold of Jim, put mine in.
There you go. Okay,
Tell them where to go.
Mike,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes,
Dave,
Yes.
Nicole, and a yes for me. All right.
good idea.
Any other things for the good of the order?
Citizens addressing the commission. You guys got anything else?
I gotta save my list.
You guys save mine?
You guys just put in your overtime raises. Appreciate it.
We let you talk during the meeting, so you guys got it all out then.
And thanks for the input, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks
Yes.
for the input.
Anything else? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is adjourned.